Substack and YouTube, welcome back. If you're not with us on Substack, consider joining. I'll put a link to join below this video for you guys. Let's look at the overall news. Let's see what's going on. One thing I want to cover is the overall elections right now, like specifically there's two critical little things in there. The prime minister right now, they're not telling you the truth about. They're all over the board. They're saying Maliki's in, Maliki's out. Soudani's still in the running. Soudani's out. They're all over the board right now. You've got to give them probably closer to later next week or, the second half of next week to start bringing you more truth and clarity on the prime minister. Now with the president, they suggested that they were going to give a 48-hour ultimatum to reach agreements and all that on the president, and we haven't seen anything on that. They even suggested they might have a session of parliament tomorrow for the president. As of today, nothing on that yet. But they also put out a tiny little bit of news kind of suggesting one of two time frames, either around tomorrow Thursday to this coming weekend Sunday to do the president. So again, the news is they're not telling us anything. We've got to see what happens on that. We'll have to give it time and be patient, okay? So that's where we're at because the rate's not going to change till after that government's formed. Let's look at today's news. Al-Alaq denies U.S. threat to freeze Iraq funds if Maliki returns. In my strongest opinion, I don't even see Maliki returning, guys. This is nothing more than a distraction, okay? I don't think Maliki's even going to return. His foot's not even in the door. Now, here's a very interesting piece for you guys. The Prime Minister directs the formation of a committee to liaise with the Kurdistan tax authorities to unify tax procedures. Now, I want you to see something here. One interesting little nugget. It says, yes, Iraq is clearly planning to expand and formalize tax revenue into the 2026 budget. That means the budget, or really confirms the budget, is calculated off of the new currency value and is calculated off of, it's kind of structured off of additional more than one revenue stream being just oil, which is a world trade requirement. So that's an interesting and critical piece to your studies. This announcement shows that tax income is now being treated as a serious budget pillar, not just a minor supplement to oil revenue, okay? Critical piece to your studies. Here's another one. From dollar to dinar, exchange rate policy threatens the stability of Iraq's oil sector. Important. Central Bank of Iraq's decision to disperse dollar remittances and convert them to Iraq dinars, okay? That's stated right here in this article. It says the Central Bank of Iraq's decision to disperse dollar remittances and convert them into Iraq dinars for contractors with oil companies operating in Iraq has raised widespread questions. Now, again, they used to pay out in dollars. The contractors are now being forced because Iraq's going international and the dollar's going to go away. The dinar will be used for everything in Iraq, not the dollar anymore. So contractors being forced to turn their dollars into dinar sometime probably in the near future after the rate has changed. Again, critical piece to your studies, okay? Let's look at this article. The International Finance Corporation predicts a better economic future for Iraq. Well, yeah, they're about to revalue their currency, go international, all that good stuff, okay? That's why they're saying they're about to do all that. U.S. Embassy announces its readiness to cooperate with Iraq oversight bodies to combat corruption. Yeah, they have reforms and stuff coming forward that will help tackle corruption. Washington and Tehran at the Ankara table. Will the anticipated negotiations restore calm to the region? It will, and I think the levels of negotiations have strengthened, meaning that the temperatures have turned up by the Trump administration. They're requiring more compliance from Iran going forward. That's why we have a large presence of naval military ships surrounding their country now, because their feet are going to be held to the fire, and compliance will be expected. Washington threatens Baghdad with reduced oil revenues if Maliki returns to the premiership again. My strongest opinion, I don't really think he's coming back. I think he's a distraction. It makes no sense to put him in there, okay? Cabinet. The government has implemented 88% of the total targets of the government program. Again, probably the last 12% probably requires Iraq to be international and have a tradable currency, convertible currency, to do the last 12%. Okay. A portion of the last final portion of the reforms does require a tradable convertible currency within an international value. U.S. warns central bank of severe sanctions on oil revenues if Maliki insists on running for office. Again, these are reasons why I don't see Maliki jumping in as the premiership prime minister. This is just a distraction. If it's not Maliki, then Soudani is the most likely choice for Iraqi premiership. You think? Yeah, he's the guy that has turned the whole country around and restored its stability within Iraq. There's reasons why they don't want you to know that he's going to get it. Okay, very specific reasons. It has to do with if you know how to think and you're analytical. If you knew he was going to get the position, you would have a good idea of when the rate's going to change. We study that, and we study at that level on Substack. So, hold on. Let's see what else there is. Says an Iraqi government that works effectively with the United States is needed. Yeah, that's happening now. That's not an issue. Here's another one. It says Soudani directs the formation of a committee to communicate with the Kurdistan region, unify taxes. Again, it has to do kind of with an e-governance coming forward and everything, but again, it has to do with additional revenue streams that the 26 budget's calculated off of because they're about to go international. That's why they are preparing the 26 budget with additional revenue streams such as taxes, which is international monies and revenue streams and so forth within the country. So that's really the bulk of our news right now, guys. But again, the news is very misleading regarding the formation of the government. They're not giving us, on the presidential level, an accurate date as to when they're going to have and hold that session of Parliament. They suggested kind of from two angles, either tomorrow, Thursday, or this coming weekend, Sunday. Right now, I'm personally leaning more towards Sunday. Again, we don't have an exact date. It's just a thought or a hunch, maybe, an opinion, whatever. But they did suggest that. They suggested this Thursday, tomorrow, or this weekend, Sunday. So right now, this weekend's too close, or this Thursday is too close tomorrow, and they haven't given us a scheduled date within Parliament for that yet. So that would suggest that this Thursday's out of the equation now. It's probably going to lean towards getting it done on Sunday of this coming weekend. Okay. And then again, all the articles talking about who's going to be the prime minister, I would not drink that Kool-Aid. From some angles, they say Maliki's in, Maliki's out. From other angles, they say Soudani's in, Soudani's out. Again, they're not telling you the truth right now. That's all wishy-washy. We've got to give them into probably the second half of next week to get more real credible news regarding the prime minister. They're not quite ready to give us the truth on that. Friends, thank you for joining. You're the best. I hope you have a great evening. Thank you for joining. Take care.